All right, friends, it is finally the end of January. Thank God. Even though January is my birth month, but good Lord, it is a long ass month. I mean, seriously. Anyway, so I decided that at the end of each month, along with like my book wrap up and all that other stuff, I'm kind of telling you about the books that I've read. I'm also going to be doing like a hauled, a read, and my DNF'd. Um, so that way you kind of get a little bit of everything because I hauled almost as many books this month as I read, which is impressive to me because I actually read five of the books that I hauled this month, which normally doesn't happen. Normally, I buy those books, I put them on my shelf, and then I don't touch them for a while. Um, but this month, I actually had a really good reading month. I read 13 total, I hauled 12. Uh, like I said, five of those were hauled this month and read this month, which is impressive. And I DNF'd one. So let's get into it. Let's talk about everything that I hauled this month. All right, the books that I hauled this month. Let's start off strong with the Legacy of Gods. These are the deluxe editions. They are paperback. Um, I didn't like the original editions that had the men on the front. I don't care for when there's like real people on a cover. I really don't. But I got these. I got these three at Barnes and Noble. I went with Suzanne book shopping. Absolutely had the time of my life. I bought way too many books. Um, and then this one I had pre-ordered on Amazon, said it wasn't coming until February, and then for some reason it came in 2 days later. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, I wanted these. I love the colors. I love that it's got the numbers in it. And then I love that the colors on the pages actually correspond with the colors in the titles. So thought that was pretty cool. Another book that I picked up was Dating and Dragons. Um, you may have seen the other one. It's called Dungeons and Drama. Hold it up, see if you can see that. There you go. For some reason, it just looked cute. Um, yeah, Suzanne and I both looked at it and we're like, let's read it. So I actually need Suzanne, comment, tell me, is this our reading? Is this our buddy read this month, or are we doing better than the movies? I also got better than the movies that had the sprayed edges, but I'm not showing that one just because I accidentally bought it again. I didn't realize that was the other Lynn Painter book I had. I had the do-over. I didn't realize I had better than the movies. So I bought the sprayed edges edition, was so excited, came home only to find out that I bought another copy of the same book. So I'm not going to show that one in a haul by the simple fact that I already owned it. But anyway, Suzanne, let me know. Is this it, or is it the other one? I don't know anymore. The other one I hauled this month was Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. Very excited about this one. Absolutely loved Out on a Limb. So I'm hoping that I really like this one. This one, I actually did not find out that it was kind of a duet to Out on a Limb. So sorry to all the people I told to read this next. Yeah, but Out on the Limb, so good. You're not going to be disappointed to read that one and then have to read this one. So I mean, you're welcome. We're going to set that one aside because that one's kind of a big deal. Then we got Hideaway Heart. Bought this. Bought it because it has the little cameras all over the edges. See how pretty. They're so cute. Anyway, I have 3 in this interconnected standalone series, and 2 of them have sprayed edges. One of them does not. I really need to go and see if they still have the sprayed edges of the one that I don't need to do it, but I want to do it. I need to talk myself out of it. Just yeah. So I got this one. Then Suzanne convinced me that I needed to read The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. I hadn't heard a whole lot about it. It's just not in my typical genre. If you can't tell, I read romance, dark romance, fantasy, romantasy. Um, and that's kind of it. I mean, really. But this, oh my God, I ate it up. Absolutely freaking loved it. I cannot wait until The Perfect Divorce comes out. This was really good, completely out of my normal genre, but I absolutely, absolutely adored it. And I've got a little visitor getting ready to come over and get into things that he's not supposed to. So this is gonna be fun. Yeah. You say hi. Okay, go away. All right. The other two books that I got this month was Redeeming Six and Taming Seven. I only needed to get these because I needed to finish up the series and because I did an entire vlog on reading this entire series that's out so far at the beginning of the month. So I had to buy these to finish it up. Am I upset that two of my spines are the ombre spines and the rest of them are black? Not really. Don't care. The series was totally worth it. So yeah. And then obviously, the last book that I hauled this month was Onyx Storm. Did you expect anything different? Not me. I didn't. I absolutely tore this book up too. So we'll talk about it in a moment. All right. It's time to talk about books read this month. I read 13, and all of them were pretty good. I had pretty much all fours and fives. I had one 3-star read, or I had two 3-star reads, and I had one 2-star read. You'll find out why here in a second. But anyway, obviously, we have the entire Boys Atonement series. I read the whole thing. There's a vlog a couple weeks ago of me reading these. Absolutely devoured them, tore them up, ate them. Yeah. If you haven't read the series, you need to. It's absolutely, absolutely amazing. Totally worth the hype. I can see where everybody's coming from. So, yeah, read this one. The next book was Hideaway Heart by Melanie Harlow. I absolutely love this one. I gave this one 4 stars. So far, I think they've all gotten 4 stars. Yeah, I think they've all gotten 4 stars. Really enjoyed this one. Just a super sweet story. Um, she she's a music star and she's trying to escape and just have me time. But she has a hard time doing that because people stalk her and all this other stuff. So her brother hires his ex-military best friend to babysit her, basically. And she hates him. They fight, they argue, and then the next thing you know, they're madly in love in a cave. It's just what it is, or not a cave, a cabin. Good Lord, I can't. My brain. Anyway, so yeah, really good story. I liked it. It was nice, but I do like that you definitely get to see more of the characters as the books go on. I kind of wish I had known that when I read the last book first. But anyway, really good. Enjoyed it. Quick, easy read. Wasn't bad. The next one I read was a book that's been sitting on my shelf for what feels like an eternity. Not really. It's been sitting on my shelf for about a year. I finally gave up and just had to do an audiobook. And yeah, I can see the complaints that I've heard about this book, and it's Checkmate by Allie Hazelwood. Um, Very nerdy, all this other stuff. I'm not a fan of audiobooks where it's one narrator doing all the voices and then the female narrator deepens her voice to make the man's voice. It just made him sound worse, to be honest. It was very nerdy, very geeky, a lot of chess terminology, and I didn't get 99% of it. I still listened to it while I was cleaning and all that other stuff. It was kind of nice to just have on. It wasn't something that I really paid attention to all that much, but I got the gist of the story. Um, so yeah, it wasn't my favorite. I gave this one 3 stars. I could have done without it, but at the same time, it's been on my shelf for a long time. I wanted to give it justice. So I audiobooked it and it was okay. I There's not a whole lot else to say about it. It was just okay. So yeah. All right. The next book I read was because I needed something to read while I waited for Onyx Storm to come out. So the night before Onyx Storm released, I got on Kindle Unlimited and I told my husband I wanted to read this book. I told him the premise of the book, and he was like, "Oh my God, that sounds terrible." And so that night he was making dinner, and I was like, "I'm reading my book. What do you want?" So yeah, I finally caved and I read Unhinged. It's the erotic door romance. Not gonna lie, I thought this book was a lot longer than it actually is. It's only like 70 something pages. It's really short. It's a little novella. But what really threw me was it's told from the door's point of view. Yeah, didn't expect that. Um, it very, very interesting. Greek gods are involved. There's some interesting stuff in this book. I gave it 2 stars mainly because of the fact that it's a novella. With novellas, I have a really hard time rating above 3 stars just because it's not a full size book. It's really short. There's not as much chance or time to get into a whole lot of details about it. But it was okay. It was interesting. I can see why people read it. So yeah, if you want to read something that's unhinged, read Unhinged. Easiest way to put it. All right, the next one, obviously, is Onyx Storm. This book right here, this book right here. This is why I don't read series that are not completed yet. I'm not kidding. So, Fourth Wing, I read it totally down. I loved it. Absolutely freaking loved it. Ate it up, but I was like, I can wait because Iron Flame was coming out like 3 months later. So I was like, I'm good. I got 3 months. It's all good. Red Iron Flame was completely disappointed. Didn't even feel like it was written by the same author to me in a way. It didn't read the same way to me. There was a lot of stuff in that book. Just wasn't my favorite. Ended on a cliffhanger again. I was like, okay, well, we had to wait like a year and a half for this book to come out. I've been dying for this book to come out. This book comes out. I bought it on my Kindle that morning because I wasn't waiting for Amazon to deliver this. I didn't know when it was going to show up. It ended up showing up at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was actually surprised by that. But anyway, so I got this. I in the morning I started reading it. By the time this came in, I was already like, according to my Kindle, I was 140 something pages in, but according to the physical book, I was only like 86 pages in, which really threw me off. You have to go by the chapter numbers between the Kindle version and the physical version, which was kind of annoying because I've never had a Kindle version and a physical version that are so that far different in their format, like in the pages and stuff like that. So that really threw me through a loop. But anyway, read this, ate it up. Read like Fourth Wing to me. It read so easy. Absolutely freaking loved it. Devoured it. I mean, I read it in 2 days. And then the way that it ended, excuse me, Rebecca, you owe me therapy bills at this point. This is why I don't read books that are not series that are not completed. Am I going to read the next one as soon as it comes out? Yeah. The only thing that really irritates me is it looks like we have over 2 years before the fourth book comes out. And Lord knows how long until we get the fifth and final book in the series, as long as it stays a fifth 5 book series. So this book, emotional damage, the best way for me to describe how I felt. Um, a lot happened. And then the end, I kid you not, I flipped the page about 7 times. Anybody that's read it understands. I flipped that last page about 7 times looking for more, and there wasn't any. It just ends. And I slammed the book closed, threw it, turned at my husband and said, "This is bullshit," and walked away. I fumed over this book all night, went to bed angry about it, woke up pissed. Just this book. So I knew I was going to go into a slump. So I immediately had to jump into something that I knew was going to not emotionally wreck me, but was going to give me what I needed. So I jumped into good old Megan Quinn and read Bridesmaid for Hire. This book I gave 4 stars. I really liked it, really enjoyed it. It reminded me a lot of the Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think this book came out before The Paradise Problem, because Paradise Problem, well, no, they both came out last year. Anyway, read this, absolutely loved it. It was a nice, easy read. It was exactly what I needed to keep myself from going into a slump. So I do not regret picking this up. Um, yeah, it reads like The Paradise Problem, where they're in paradise. They're in Bora Bora, having the time of their life, and they're with a bunch of rich people, and they're getting to do all these things that rich people get to do. And it's a destination wedding and all this other stuff, and they're enemies to lovers and blah blah blah. They have to stay in the same bungalow. It's a whole lot of stuff. But anyway, best friends, brother, enemy to lovers situation. But really enjoyed it. It gave me what I needed to get out of Onyx Storm territory. And then in my haul, I talked about this, The Perfect Marriage, 4 stars. Absolutely friggin' loved it. Cannot wait until the 4th one comes out. I was able to guess one part of it. A couple people have already said that they were able to guess that same exact part. So I'm glad that my brain is functioning properly, because sometimes I question if it is. But anyway, I read it, really guessed one part. The way that it ended, no, did not see that happening whatsoever. So really enjoyed it. Completely out of my typical choosing genre, all that other stuff, but really enjoyed it. Ate it up. Quick, easy read too. But lots of moving parts. Had my wheels churning for a little bit, but really enjoyed it. Next, because I needed something just pure smut, if we're being completely honest, I read Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. I haven't read any Harley LaRue yet, so this was the first book I've ever read of hers. I enjoyed it. I really did. Leon, who is a demon from hell, who apparently has the most mesmerizing boy parts, um, just did something for her. And she's a paranormal investigator who films YouTube videos and all this other stuff. And she tries to catch everything on film. And he's like, I don't think so. But yeah, really, really interesting. There's a cult that's trying to take her, and he's trying to protect her, but she won't give her soul to him. There's quite a plot to this book, to be honest, for a smut book. Who would have known? But anyway, it was really interesting. Really enjoyed it. I think, what did I give? I gave this one, it according to my Google Doc calendar, it was a 3 based on everything that I had put. But on Storygraph and Goodreads, I put it as a 4 because it's like a 3.99 star to me. Like, we're pretty much there. I enjoyed it. It gave me what I wanted, so I have no complaints. It hit where it needed to hit, so there's that. But yeah, it's 3.3.5, 3.75, around there, 3.99, whatever. It's between a 3 and a 4. So yeah, pretty good. The last book that I fully read this month, because there is a DNF. The last book I fully read this month was The Score by Elle Kennedy. This is the 3rd book in the off-campus series. I had to look because my brain. This was the 3rd book. I really enjoyed this. Dean got a bad rap in all the other books, so I really enjoyed that Dean got his good guy moment out of all the books. I ended up reading this on my Kindle, just because sometimes I don't like taking these goofy cartoon books with me places. Even though I did buy these editions when they came out because they had the sprayed edges. But I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was cute. It hit like all the other off-campus books, so why not? Really enjoyed it. I've already started The Goal, which is Tucker's book. I've already started that, and I'm not very far into it. Yesterday it started raining, and my eyeball said, "Nope, we're tired." So that was the end of me yesterday. But yeah, this was good. All right, let's talk about my DNF of January. I'm in a group buddy read. Every month somebody gets to choose. We read the book. We discuss said book, all this other stuff. And then We all do it through Storygraph and text message and all this other stuff. Like you cared. You didn't need to know any of that shit. Anyway, this book, The Wedding People, was our book this month. I made it like 59 pages into this book and was bored out of my mind. I know a lot of people said it's really good. You have to get into it more. And I promised myself this year that I was going to DNF books that didn't bring me joy in a decent amount of time. Because yeah, I mean, when you're reading almost 100 pages in and you're just sitting there going, trying to stay awake to read it, that's not a good sign. Um, I'm not 100% sure if this is going to be a soft DNF or just a hard DNF at this point. I was starting to get sick when I read it, which is part of the reason why I wasn't able to film like hardly anything until recently, or until today, really. Um, because I completely lost my voice, and even with the microphone, y'all wouldn't have been able to hear a daggone word I said. You wouldn't have been able to hear anything that I was trying to say, even with the microphone. And so, yeah. But I don't know if it's because of that or what. I just didn't care for this book, period. There wasn't a whole lot in it that I truly enjoyed. It wasn't until about 60 pages that you really, or 50 pages, that you figured out why we're even at this hotel. Um, and that's it. Like, it took that long just to get to figure out why we're even to this point. I was really bored. I don't know if I'm gonna try and reread it again. I'm gonna put it back on my shelf. We're gonna see what happens. It may end up getting unhauled. I think my next video is actually gonna be fixing my shelves. I have 12 shelves in there that are completely full, and I have quite a few books that have to be put back on my shelves, and I don't have room for all of them. So that's a big problem on my part. There are a couple books that I do need to just go on haul because I'm not going to read them, or I don't have interest in rereading them again. So I think my next video is going to be a let's fix my shelves and unhaul video, but we'll see. Don't hold me to it. But anyway, how was your reading month? Was January good for you? I hope so. And if you hauled any good books, please let me know, because I'm always down to go book shopping. Just even though I just said I don't have room for the books I have, but I will gladly buy more. That's just life. But anyway, hope you guys had a great reading month. Um, and I will see you next week. Bye. Just testing to see what the mic sounds like, because I have to wear it today. I want to make sure if I jiggle around too much, it doesn't do its thing. Try not to touch the microphone. Anyway.